And we are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And
What
welcome
up?
to another rendition from Takedown Troupe, your weekly TNA review show here at BC WrestlePod. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, also known as El Jefe around these parts, and we got the trifecta, the double dose of the wills this evening. So, first and foremost, joining me this evening is, of course, Papa also Will. So happy to have you here. I'm very excited to talk about this jam-packed episode of TNA. No, I can't even lie to us. This, again, we'll get into it in my opening segment, but like, you, TNA, you got to learn how to balance these pre-tapes you do, y'all. Like, there was just... Anyways. And then, of course, we have the other half of the Wills, Radio Free Will, in the house as well. So, TNA, I love you, but dang.
We've got both me and Papa Oso on here. Should we just start calling this segment a Battle of Wills?
I mean, sure, why not? Anything can happen, just like this TNA. Anything can happen, apparently. I'm just gonna get the intro bits out of the way so we can just jump straight into it, because
absolutely
lots of stuff to discuss. There's a lot of things this episode that I was like, huh? But anyhow, if you like what you see on your screen, we are on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, so you can subscribe and hit the bell notification or follow us on your preferred streaming platform. But if you cannot commit to full-length reviews, whether they are live stream or the edited versions that go up later, then you are more than welcome to follow us on our social media sites at BC WrestlePod, where we do report cards, clips, notifications of when we go live, all the fun stuff. It is wild for sure. And then we also have some merch available, which will be posted in the chats as well as in the link in our bios of everything that we have at BC WrestlePod shop.fourthwall.com, where you can get yourself something nice. We have review, all the review teams as merch. We have international brands in merch. We have our, 24/7 Pride collection, our anti-fascism campaign, if you will. And we also have our summer collection, which will be going away at the end of this month to make room for our fall collection. So get your pumpkin spice lattes ready, girls. God, I hate that trope so badly. But I'm excited. We're going to have a good time. So yeah, link in the description to our merch store in the chat, as well as in the link for all our stuff. All right, now all the pleasantries are out of the way, let's get into this, because TNA, I have lots of questions, and I don't understand how we got here and where we're going. And there were parts of this where I felt like this episode of TNA was written by SNL writers, because I was like, what in Saturday Night Live comedy sketches is this? Especially with some of our pre-taped backstage segments.
Was there a single clean finish on this episode?
I mean, now that I think about it, of the matches we had, probably not. I'm trying to think. Was the Knockouts tag team clean? I was like,
no. That one's evolved into a big old no. Oh no, wait, no. I'm thinking the JC Jane and
Ash by Elegance match, which
that one's evolved into a schmaz.
Yeah, so I think the tag team match was the only kind of quote unquote clean ending we got with that one. Everything else was count out, DQ, not a clean finish, which we're gonna get into. So I'm like, again, why'd you pick all of your weird ending matches for this episode, TNA? Also, Steph DeLander and Mance Warner, we gonna have a chat with HR, because like I don't think that was sanitary, which we're going to. I will say though, I appreciate the screenshots I got of segments, because these facial expressions were me for a good chunk of this episode too. So, alrighty, let's rip the Band-Aid off. We got to hear from Trickin to open up our show. So Trick Williams kicks off TNA this episode. He talks about, again, Trickin A running through the catchphrases. Moose comes out. Trick does a lot of talking, and then Moose just boops him in the face with the microphone, and a brawl ensues. Like, for real.
So, this... Okay. I think I have figured out my primary confusion when it comes to TNA as a product. They seem to have difficulty committing to their performers being definitively face or heel. Don't get me wrong, there are a few. There are a few that are definitely face and that are definitely heel, you know? But, like, there has been no, like, from what I've seen anyway, there has been no, like, definitive face turn for Moose. It's just like, no, I feel like going after the TNA title now, and it happens to be on a heel, so I guess I'm a babyface now. And, like, and I understand that that's not a necessity in wrestling storytelling, but it's real helpful, you know? Like, I had a similar thing, and we'll talk about this more when we get into the I keep wanting to say Burt Macklin. It's not Burt Macklin. That's Andy Dwyer's character on Parks and Rec.
Steve Macklin.
Thank you. It's the Steve Macklin and Jake something match. Like, I didn't. Are either of them babyface right now? Like, who are we supposed to be rooting for here? Who is supposed to be the person that we're like, yeah, go, guy?
This is, I mean, how do I put this nicely? Nah, forget niceties.
I mean, I did literally, when I joined this chat today, I did put my title in here as CHO, the Chief Hating Officer. So, so I am doing my duty.
This was fine, I guess. I was just like, I am all right. And Papa, also, we talked about this in our own chat too. It's just like, we're always finding ourselves in these situations. Once we get past Slammiversary, it just feels like it's a slog to Bound for Glory, because Emergence and Victory Road always being so weirdly built up. And then we always find ourselves with Bound for Glory build being doo-doo. And then the pay-per-view itself ends up being awesome. And I'm just like, this is the radio. Will I, like, as somebody who's new to TNA, prepare yourself, because this slog between Slammiversary and Bound for Glory, at least the last 3 years we've covered it in different shades, but same coat of paint. We're going to get through this together is the best way I can put it, because post Slammiversary is really tough. It's going to test your patience. So we shall see what happens. But just a reminder, these two will be fighting for the TNA World Championship at Emergence. Also, these two, along with our NXT Men's Champion and Javon Evans of NXT, will be doing a 4-on-4 match on NXT this Tuesday against Dark State, which, check out our NXT review, because I'm like, how do Dark State still get, like, TV time and title matches? They have not won a single thing since. I digress. I was like, they lost at Slammiversary, and yet they're getting whatever. Anywho, let's move on. Gia Miller, that Southern twang came out a little bit in this one, and I was just like kind of here for it. She's like,
there was definitely the verbal equivalent of her taking off her earrings for that one.
I was like, I felt that in my spirit. I felt that in my chest. I was like, oh no, she gonna beat Tessa up next time she sees her in these streets.
So you know what I recognized in it, actually. It, like, I said verbally, like, taking her earrings off. I have a similar thing. When I get angry, my Boston accent comes out. Like, when it is the no breaks, like I went to school to be in radio. And one of the things they teach you in communications school is that if you want to work in a market that's not your hometown, drop the accent. And it's a lesson that I stood by so that I can try to do voice acting and other kind of stuff like that. So my Boston accent is not necessarily thick. But I warn people, especially like if we're in high stress situations, if you hear me start dropping R's, And I start saying stuff like, go to the packy, get me a sixer, and then we'll meet in the fucking parking lot, kid. Then stand back, because it is, the brakes are off, and if you're in my way, it sucks to suck.
No, I feel like we all have, of course, with being me. If I start dropping the Spanish curse words or talking to you in Spanish, then we have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah. So Gia Miller, that Southern twang came out, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not gonna mess with her. I was like, Gia Miller literally told Tessa it's on site. I was just like, and then she went back into it when she interviewed Joe Hendry after this too. I was like, I have to remember too that outside of TNA on the independents, Gia Miller is a manager for Madman Fulton and Mads Kruger on the independent scene, and she also can wrestle too if need be. So I'm just like, I don't know if this would be the best idea, but if this sets up Gia versus Tessa in some capacity, I'm kind of weirdly here for it, because I was like, what are we doing? But I'm here for it regardless, because I personally believe Gia is about that life, and I would kind of like to see it, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So
anything to increase TNA's roster. I mean, did I say that out loud?
I mean, yeah. So let's move on. What are we doing? Like, what happened to Eric Young? Where is his turn?
Eric, buddy.
Sammy is me this whole entire thing. It's like,
okay. All right, Eric, buddy. And I know this is not the first time we've made this comment on this show. You can't be a bald white dude feuding with a POC and talking about cleansing. Okay?
I'm like, what are we doing?
Homie. Like, and the fact that this has gone on multiple weeks, like, that means this has gotten by editors several times. And and I get that they're trying to cozy up to TKO, but like, is that the way to do it? No, like, I know they're still in their like Hogan worshiping Triple H can't book black men to save his life phase, but like, come on.
This is getting way out of hand. I don't know what's going on with a lot of these promotions right now. I'm just like, you guys cannot. It's 2025. Like, I don't know how this got past HR, how this got like test groups. Like, Santana and Sammy are me in this whole entire thing. Sammy Callahan in the background is me, internally with this whole thing. And Mike Santana just like, I can see the gears turning in Santana's head. It's just like, I'm just listening. Because I know if I let loose, this man will need to be picked up off the floor.
I do love that this screenshot, Sammy is super interested in something that's on the ceiling.
For reals, he's rolling his eyes. I was like, what are we doing?
Wow, Aurora Borealis.
So, Papa, also, I want to get you to chime in here a little bit, because we've also had multiple conversations of what the heck is happening with Eric Young. And like, the direction for Northern Armory has gone off the rails. I don't even think we're on the same like line of travel anymore.
I don't understand any of this. I thought this whole episode was stupid.
Not gonna lie, I watched this episode. I had to watch this episode twice, because this morning I watched it this morning, and it just washed over me.
I watched most of it on 3x speed. I just couldn't do it. The best part of this whole episode was the Gia Miller moment.
I did have one more positive moment to this episode, and I will talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah, so I'm withholding information because Santana and Samuel will have some sort of involvement at Emergence, but I'm going to wait and to reveal all that when we get to the Santino bit at the very end of the show before our main event, which, is interesting. But again, Emergence is one of those B tier pay-per-views where it's not one of the big four, but we're trying to get monthly stuff. So, Eric, I have loved you. I will respect you. You are an OG legend in TNA, but this is not the direction I want. Also, I need Sinner and Saint to defect immediately. Like, it's
I
so
also need
frustrating.
Sinner to like, okay, and the best part about this promo was Sinner being a Muppet in the background.
Right? I was like, he's just giving you the same.
He's over here like,
I was like, it's buck wild. I
and
was
I'm
just
like,
like,
no, just mute that and watch him. That's all you need.
yeah. So I'm just like, I can't. But we do got to move on because we do got other stuff to talk about. But not this. So, Gia Miller getting bleeped once during that whole thing with her message to Tessa. Like, I was like, cool. You know what? It added something. Steve Macklin, we were being a naughty boy today because we had to censor you multiple times today in this episode. I was like, holy hell, Macklin.
So, about this match, and having watched him for a few weeks now, sell me on Jake something. Because, like,
we want to, but this. Yeah.
Here's the from my perspective, from what I've seen so far, he has the look. 110%. He has the look. But he moves kind of awkwardly in the ring. Like, he has this weird, like, sort of like loping gait that, like, looks really awkward. And I'm wondering if it's like, I mean, it might just be how his body works. People's bodies work differently, you know, like, and I get that. And
right.
It's it's entirely possible that, I mean, and I've definitely seen clips of him from the indies where he's been treated as kind of a big deal. And like, it's, and like, there's a part of me that wonders, like, is he self-taught? Because, like, usually, like, you can tell, like, when a wrestler's trained, like, if you really watch the people and you know that, like, oh, this guy was trained by this guy, and you can look at other people that were trained by other wrestlers, and they have, like, they move in similar ways, and they sort of take bumps in similar way, and, like, and that sort of thing. I'm wondering if Jake something was self-taught. It was one of those things, like, he just, like, showed up at his local indie promotion one day, and everybody's like, dude, you have the look by a million times. Get in the ring and just make it look as good as you can. And he just kind of learned to do it by himself. And once again, like, that is a valid way of learning how to do something, but it does definitely show when you get to this tier of performance, you know, when you get to this level of the industry. So,
right. So I also wonder if he's still having some lingering effects with having major surgery, which is why he was out for quite a couple of months too, and he hasn't fully rehabbed it either. Right. I also don't think since his return, and Papa, also, you could probably back me up on this, the presentation for Jake is not helping this either. Like, they want him to be the monster, but he's not leaning in full heel or face. He's kind of stuck in the middle, but it's like, normally I don't want to dictate, you know, certain character tropes for wrestlers that they need to be, you know, one or the other. But at the same time, though, we need him to pick a side, you guys. TNA, you need to figure out how you're going to present him.
This was that match that I was talking about, like the whole notion of like, I don't know who the faces and heels are in this feud. Like, so, yeah. And when there's a title on the line, you kind of need that. Like, having that face and heel dynamic creates heat for the title.
This, I wouldn't even call it a match. We got like 3 minutes worth of stuff, and then it was a double count out of that.
Yeah, and there was a 10 count. I
was just like, and again, when we get to Santino's emergence match announcements, I was like, I feel like that match that's happening between these two at Emergence wasn't warranted in the build that we've been getting with this and this whole entire thing. Which is kind of weird. You would think that, you know, no DQ, no count out means that these two absolutely hate each other's guts and they're willing to destroy each other instead of having a wrestling match. So we have to in my mind of logic, if you're going to go there, it's like, okay, so y'all are going to fight no matter what. So we're going to throw traditional rules out the window. So now you're just going to fight, no DQ, no count out. Somebody has to win, all that stuff. I feel like the story we've been telling you did not warrant this, but you know.
So folks, while we've been talking here, Papa also put over in the side chat, Jake Something was trained at the ROH dojo. Specific trainers mentioned include Delirious and Daisy Hayes, with Grizzly Redwood and Rhett Titus also assisting. I don't recognize any of the, I'll be honest, I don't recognize any of those names. Austin Aries and Chris Hero were also guest trainers. Okay, like, and that's like, knowing what I know about Austin Aries, I can't imagine he's a very good trainer, but hey, maybe he's changed since he's dropped off of
talk afterwards, because me and Adolfo, who cover MLW, he just popped up on commentary and his spin's still there for the last couple of shows, and we'll talk afterwards. But
fascinating.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Delirious. Weirdly enough, him and Abyss have kind of the same, they grew up in around the same time and had careers in the same place, but both of them are like retired in-ring wise and are working backstage. I'm very familiar with Rhett Titus as one of the pillars of like the original, not the Honor Club version that we have now, but like the original run of Ring of Honor too. And so again, I was like, Jake, these names, if they truly trained you, I was just like, I'm not putting stock in people, but I feel like you know better, so I'm going to chalk it up, hopefully, that you're still working the kinks out from your injury coming back. That you had major surgery on those, but still.
Another thing that occurred to me, especially with the idea of him going through major surgery, is, and I want to give Jake the benefit of the doubt in the best way possible, because I'm about to compare him to Kenny Omega. Because here's the thing: when Kenny Omega started AEW, like I've seen interviews with him where he said he had to change up his style a bit because he was getting older and he couldn't do a lot of like the really big spots that he used to do in New Japan. So, but do it in such a way that he could still make for an exciting match, you know. And I've heard other people talk about similar things, like Ricochet. Like that's like, I think there was an interview recently where someone like Ricochet mentioned like he can't hit the 630 as cleanly as he used to, which understandable. I can barely do a 90, let alone a 630. So like I'm not like, they are definitely capable of doing more than I would ever be able to do. But I would hope that if he does sort of realize that his body is not capable of doing things that he wants it to, that he can sort of change his style up in order to make for just to make as good a product as he can, you know. It's, I mean, granted, there is also, and that is, there's also a different level of sort of commitment to it, because, you know, Kenny Omega is one of the elite of all elite wrestling, and Jake Something doesn't seem to have quite as much investment in TNA that I'm aware of. But so it's, I don't know, just
yeah. So summarizing it up, double count out. We'll get to the announcement. We had to push the bleep button multiple times for Macklin. I'm like, Mr. Parasso, you naughty boy. Anywho. Well, I mean, that kind of perfectly leads it to, speaking of naughty boys, what? Listen, we don't king shame on this channel. But what? Like, what? I was like, unless we're leading something that involves Steph, Mance, Ariana Grace, and Santino, this is where I truly felt like this is what we were watching SNL. Like, what is happening?
I don't mind a little. Okay. My thing with this,
Mance, you sold this poorly too. I was like, no.
My complaint with this is not that like, oh, this was so scandalous. My complaint with this is like, it was kind of half-assed.
That's what I was saying. I was just like, if you're gonna go there, go all in.
Exactly. Like
sell me.
And come on, guys. The rule of 3. It's a comedy. Like it's not like an obscure law of comedy. The rule of 3. You go for the joke of them sneaking into Santino's office for sex. Come back with like do the spot later with Santino walking in on them, and then you do a third spot where like one of them has to run out naked or something. Like there has to be. To borrow a phrase from the McElroy brothers, the prestige. You know.
We're gonna put a pin in this because we get the second half of this later in the episode, so we're gonna move on though.
It's not even that it was SNL; it's crappy SNL.
Oof, you're right. One of the few promos I liked tonight. I'm not even going front, but that's because Cedric had been in this game for a while, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been keeping up with TNA, and I was like, oh yeah, Leon Slater and Cedric have a match at Emergence. It's crazy we didn't get to see anything from Leon this week. We'll probably get it next week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we get Leon in action next week, but that's beside the point. Yeah, nothing else, Cedric. I love you. Yeah. I'm going to be so for real, as sad as it is to say, by default, this was my favorite match of the entire night because we actually had a finish.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. We have the Elegance brand being represented by Heather and M by Elegance taking on the team of Liang Li and Zaya Brookside. I'm going to be a little nicer because I said by default. I actually really like the in-ring action, especially from Zaya. I was just like, that hot tag was great. And just her running around doing crazy things. So it's like, yes, you young 20-something-year-old, we love you.
So,
but
go ahead.
But yeah, by default, I like this match, and this was my favorite because we actually had a finish to this thing that wasn't a DQ or count out or any of that nonsense.
I am gonna. I may have something of a controversial take on this one. Heather worked in this match.
Ooh, she was. I was about to say Heather was MVP for me. Not to say that none of the other ones weren't, but Heather was bouncing around and like amazing.
The one moment that made me sort of like, again, I'm with Papa Oso. This whole episode was just kind of meh. But the one moment that this match had the moment that made me sort of sit up and like, wait a second, hold on, wind that back. Let me watch that bit again. There was a penta arm breaker in this.
Ooh, so nice.
She set up the sacrifice arm breaker, and I'm like, okay, we're breaking out the Pentagon greatest hits. Okay. There was my biggest complaint was there was an unfortunate cut to commercial because it's like, okay, we have there were a few too many rest holds in it because it's like for everything that was good in this match there was something bad. Like it's like few too many rest holds, and there was the whole thing of like struggling to get to a vertical base. Cut to commercial, come back, she's at a vertical base. It's like, okay, would have been nice to see her get there and then cut to commercial maybe, but fine, whatever.
Yeah. So. Papa, also, I do want to get your thoughts on this one because I would like to hear from you and what you thought about this. This was the only match we had that was clean, but what did you think of our Elegance girls versus the team of Lee and Brookside?
Oh, I loved it. It was probably my favorite match of the night. I mean, I like all 4 of these women, and I thought they all did really well. And of course, I'm all about my Elegance girls, so anytime they wrestle, I'm here for it. So
yeah. And yeah, I do like that whenever we get Elegance tag team action, I do appreciate the pairing of Heather and M by Elegance because I think it works really well. And Liang Li and Zaya Brookside have kind of been thrown together, but I'm also here for them as this pseudo tag team, which we'll get to when we get to the brawl later in the show.
I do feel it's a little insulting to Liang Li to pair her with someone named Zaya, given what her name in WWE was.
I was like, how dare you? But this was a lot of fun. This was one of the brighter spots this episode. I was just like, thank God women's matches actually made me happy.
Yeah.
And then we get to the other side a little bit later. So Ariana was my spirit animal. This was my whole reaction to this episode after I was done.
I did giggle a little bit at Santino going in for a second look, and then just that was solid.
Santino, I love you. I was just like, but yeah, Ariana, this was my response to for this whole episode.
if we can get like Santino, when your contract runs out with TNA, give Evil Uno a call, because I feel like the two of you working together could make something really.
Put him on
quality
commentary
and
for
funny.
Mystery Wrestling, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? Santino out here traveling. I mean, look, now, even though it's owned, like, I want a one-on-one match between Santino and Mr. Iguana, because that mixed tag team that I saw not too long ago in AAA was hilarious and stupid, but it was right up my alley. But yeah. Ariana and Santino come back to the office. They walk into Mance and Steph doing, things. Ariana shocked. Santino covers her eyes. And like you said, Radio, that, Ariana leaves. Santino goes back in for a look. And he leaves. I was just like, there's not going to be any payoff for this. We're not doing anything else with this. Yep. It was just there to be there.
Yep.
Ew. And just kidding. I was like, all right, well,
or at least go for like go for the Monty Python joke. Is that a chicken up that? No, just the way she's holding the grapefruit.
I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, I felt like I was watching an episode of 2010's Raw, and those were some dark times. Most of us were there, and we try to purge it from our memory.
And everyone just kind of goes, the horror.
This is some dark times. It's dark times indeed. Ash is angry at the girls because they still can't get the job done. When I was reviewing these slides, I was just like, did I stumble upon a soap opera? Because this was giving me soap opera angry. But I actually, as silly as it was, I like this because unless we lead to something, Ash is kind of getting tired of Heather and M losing all the time and being the main reason for a good chunk of the stuff. But also very weirdly as well, I was like, Ash, we're going to talk about you. Now, I'm not going to say it was your fault because a certain, somebody who I would not want to fight with on the street came in and interrupted your match later. But I don't want to say I want to break up the Elegance brand, but this is one of those, nut up or shut up, if you will, kind of moments for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we keep teasing that and be like, okay, there's problems. And then they go back to being okay. And then there's problems. And then we go back to being okay. It's giving me Judgment Day, whether it's like break them up or don't. Like, stop.
I thought you were going to go for an Austin Theory Grayson Waller reference there, but
well, at least this breakup of the Elegance brand, hopefully it will be actually on screen, not narrated to us by Grayson Waller to the New Day. Don't get me started. We already vented on that during our WWE review of how stupid that whole thing was. I was like, it was right there. You could have did it and had Austin Theory's really hurt, have Grayson beat him up really badly to write him off TV. But no, we did not do that. Ash is so angry, she sends out the Elegance girls and our concierge, George Iceman, as she collects her thoughts before her match.
Here's my thing with this angle. Like, I feel like with Ash getting the title shots, she's doing the sort of classic, like, big-headed, arrogant, like, oh, I'm so much more important than the rest of you kind of thing for her stable.
Mm-hmm.
And that paired with sort of the overarching gimmick of the Elegance brand, it kind of feels like they're looking over at Toni Storm and like trying to copy her homework. And it's like, Ash, like, No offense, Ash. No offense taken. You are no Tony Storm.
And here's the thing, like, I have bias because I love me some Ash by Elegance. It's just the perfect right amount. I was like, this shouldn't work, but I enjoy it. But also, I know I hold a special place for Ash after the interview that I got to do with her like last year. I still hold that as important because, again, she was just recently released by the Fed, and she spoke very highly of the people she loved in TNA, which include Gail Kim. I was like, you earned brownie points for me with that answer alone. Yep. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know where we're going with the brand. I don't know I don't even think TNA knows what they're wanting to do with this tag team knockouts division as well. Cause I was like, where are we going? Like, we're just anywho. Moving on. I actually feel really bad for Casey Navarro. I mean, because he hurt his knee, so he gonna be out for a while, which makes me very sad because I do love some Casey. I was really happy to see Rich Swann come back because now TNA brought him back in, but I was just like, funny enough, this emergency penthouse did not make me as mad because I was like, you know what? Casey's gonna be out, so we need to. This was the only bit of storytelling that made sense to me. It's like, all right, Casey's gonna be out for a little bit. He's gonna be out, so we're gonna keep First Class going. And you know what? It seems that we're bringing back Rich Swann to fill everybody in. Rich Swann was absent from TNA for a while because, and Papa also, if you remember this too, the substance abuse got back to Rich Swann, and so he had to go fix that. And then he was out here in the Independents and popped out at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling for a little bit. And now we brought Rich Homie Swann back, as his moniker was before he left. So this was the bit of storytelling I actually did not mind because it made a lot of sense for this. And I was like, this is how you write people off. Take notes, like other promotions. But poor Casey. I'm going to miss you. Come back. Please be safe. Hopefully you're not out forever or too long.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to add. That was like the summary of everything that happened. Yeah.
It's that's what happened. It's like
yeah.
So it was like, aside from that, like, okay, put it this way. This isn't like, this was another promo that could have been an email.
It really could have. We could have got a pre-taped and I would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And AJ, buddy, I like you a lot. I like your heel work. I like this sort of, like, as I've described him before, sort of a Rick Ross meets Ted DiBiase kind of character. But you got to rehearse your lines a little bit more, homie. You got to make it sound a little more natural. You can't have every line to end like this, and every line comes out and it comes out high and comes down low. It's almost like he's trying to be a sports announcer. And then he comes out and brings in Rich Homie Swann.
It's very monotonous with the ups and downs and everything.
Yeah. It's and it's so funny to me because he's for all of the stuff that he Slammiversary, all of the stuff that he showed that he could do in the ring, I know everybody keeps pointing out the ladder bump that he took right between the legs, but that was gnarly enough. The fact that he's able to walk away from that is huge, but that moonsault, the moonsault, I popped out of my seat for that.
That was awesome.
It's almost like every time he takes a step forward as a performer in one capacity, he has to take a step back in another. It's
yeah. So again, this could have been an email. So now it's going to be AJ and Rich Swann moving forward for First Class. We move on. Mara, love you. This was a squash match, and she wins in her singles debut. Nothing more to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really want to believe that her name is a Star Wars reference.
Mara Sade.
Well, no, because it's because Mara Jade.
That's also very true.
So like I'm sitting here going like Mara, like I know she's pronouncing it Sade, but I read that as, you know, as the sci-fi geek that I am, and I see like, oh, that's Mara Jade. And I half expect her to come out with, you know, the purple lightsaber.
That would be amazing. Yeah. But yeah, I'm never going to be against more women being signed to any promotion because women's wrestling is a lot of fun, and honestly, sometimes more than not, better than the men's wrestling. But my biggest worry, though, is I'm really hoping that with Mara signing with TNA, we still have enough room to give her something to do. And because right now TNA is signing a lot of women, but I was just like, okay, let's try to get something going for everybody. We don't even need to be championships. Like if you want to put people in tag teams or multi-women matches, like I'm okay with it. We have seen it in other promotions and I'm fine with it. But I'm really worried if we continue to keep signing more talent. I was just like, then you start to have a bloated roster. So, but I'm going to withhold my judgment until that happens. And so Mara Sade wins in her singles debut, even though this is her second match in TNA. Email, 3 minutes. Masha Slamovich causes a DQ.
Yep.
How do I put this? Even if we got a full match, I already knew without shenanigans aside, no way Ash was going to win this title. That's just so upfront. Yeah. And from a perspective, I get it. Masha is like, okay, we're going tit for tat. You caused the DQ in my match last week. I'm going to cause a DQ for yours here. We didn't even get to 3 minutes before Masha's like, bucket. I'm going to go in here and just cause mayhem. So I was just like, I wasn't expecting like a 5-star classic between Ash and JC, but I was just like, damn, we couldn't even got 5 minutes. All right, that's fine. Which then devolved into this, where we get the big old brawl between tag teams. I was just like, why? I was just like, I would have now had it been a brawl between JC and Ash and Masha, then it would have made sense. It's like, okay. But then this turned into a full, like, those three were fighting, and then all the tag teams were fighting. The inspiration was just, like, came out, like, Radio, if it is okay, I'm actually going to have Papa also go first in here. Because,
yeah, please do. I feel bad that I haven't been able to shut up this whole time.
So Papa also, I know in our, chat that me and you had, we went back and forth about this whole thing and just the state of what we're at right now. So even if it's not a lot, I would like to hear your thoughts about this pull apart brawl and just everything that happened, I guess.
It was amateur hour. You could tell it was so unorganized that it was almost dangerous. And it was like you had all of these people trying to work around everybody, and you could tell that there were times where people were like, oh, someone's in the way, so I can't quite do that move yet. So I'm going to stall for time, and then I'll do the move. And it was just like, it was a mess. It was a mess, and it made no sense. It's like, and I just hate when they make the women out to be this. If we can't do it, we're just gonna throw hands, and not in the good way, but in like the she's being a woman way. And that's exactly how it came across. I was just like, no. First of all, you got some really good folks in this ring, and you are just making them look petty. And that even like JC Jane and all of the Fatal Influence, all of them, I was like, they're all good. All of these women are really good wrestlers, and this made them look like emotional women, like stereotypical.
Mm-hmm.
and it was so annoying. I was so mad. I'm like, this didn't need to happen. I mean, this whole match was ridiculous. This was the perfect example of amateur hour on TNA's part. Just stupid. And I think they thought, ooh, let's have a big girl fight. Everybody will love that. And I'm just like, nope, not everybody.
Big girl fight. Everyone will love that. Guys, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. What the fuck?
No. Well, it doesn't make nobody in this match, nothing in this clusterfuck made anybody look good.
Right.
And
Nobody came out of this looking
No.
good.
Well, and then to kind of fast forward a little bit too, which we'll get into a little bit in a couple of slides, but like with Santino's announcement, I listen, and when it's done right, and if it makes sense in the story wise to have like a multi-team championship match for tag titles, it makes sense. Despite my issues with the Fed, and I don't care if I get ripped apart because these are my opinions, and that is okay. What happened at SummerSlam with that TLC match, with all 6 of those teams, as much as I wasn't sure how 12 people were going to do, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm giving it credit because the SmackDown Tag Team Division has been going through the story for the last 2-3 months now, and it all culminated to TLC, but it made sense because of where everybody was placed, what matches were happening, feuds were happening, and then it just culminated with the whole SmackDown Tag Team Division wanting to fight each other, and so we had to settle it one way or another, so we got the TLC match. Besides the Elegance brand and maybe the Inspiration, who've been kind of feuding, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Fatal Influence to be thrown into this, fender bender of a brawl. Liang Lee and Xia Brookside have barely been a tag team for like 3 weeks, and they're acting like they have beef with everybody in this ring. It's just really bad storytelling and poor booking. I will get into the poor booking part more when we get to Santino's announcement, because I was just like, it's just rinse and repeat. We literally just had this not too long ago, and I was there live, and yeah. I was so mad at this whole segment. I was just like, which also adds, I was like, I get a sneaking suspicion we're not going to see Masha, JC, or Ash, or that TNA Knockouts World Championship at Emergence, which we got to figure out what we're doing. I was just like, I know the end game is probably going to be Masha and JC and maybe Ash, but we are getting a rematch between JC and Masha probably at Bound for Glory. So we got to wait until October, but this is just really sloppy all around of where we're going. And I'm kind of mad.
Did they have writers?
Apparently not this episode.
Like, it's not even just this episode. It feels like it's an overarching thing. Like, no one has any motivation to do anything except titles. And I can understand that from a sports entertainment capacity, but like, it's the grudge matches that keep you here, and it's like, it's turning that title match into a grudge match that keeps you here. It's like, I mean, again, it's kind of unfair to, I feel like we're comparing, apples to, Apple Jolly Ranchers here, but like, if you compare it to like just the first thing that comes to mind was, Cody finishing his story, like he loses that first WrestleMania so that he can come back and win the next WrestleMania, so that title match at WrestleMania becomes a grudge match. You become emotionally invested in it. It's not just like, oh, I'm going for the title. This year, it's like, oh, we're going for the title. Like, and there's nothing to like get emotionally invested in like even like when they do like a couple weeks ago when they do try to do like we're gonna stand up for TNA, like we are the TNA wrestlers and we're like Leon Slater, the Hardys, and Bert, you know, all in
Which, right.
all in the ring together, like, yeah, we are going to stand up for, you know, we are team TNA. We're going to stand up against the invading NXT WWE people. Yeah, here we go. And then
that story
and then
got abandoned so quickly.
And then of those 4 people, we saw one this episode.
Yeah.
And we're still not even sure if he's supposed to be babyface or heel.
Right. And I was just like, I know you're probably waiting to do all the crazy stuff at Bound for Glory, but like, you literally have 2 NXT stars who are holding your singles championships. Like,
see, here's the thing. Like, when you say that, like, at Bound for Glory, the tag match that is at Bound for Glory for our tag team champions, the Hardy Boys, they're going against the Dudleys.
I was just like, ugh.
For one last match. So Devon will get one last match. And I'm sure it's probably going to be the one last match for Bubba Ray too. But like, that's not going to be a title match. That's going to be one last TLC match or one last ladder match for nostalgia's sake. So like, what's that? There's no story there. There's no investment there. That's nostalgia wankery. Like, it's like, that is the wrestling equivalent of rolling up in the bug and going, you remember the TLC match of the 2000s? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Not the voice. But no, and this all culminates to what Papa also brought up. I was just like, I don't know what's going on backstage with TNA, but like, we have an idea after Slammiversary of where we were going, or at least I thought we did, and this is not even throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. This is literally like not even throwing darts at the wall to see what ideas we're going to use. It's just like there's a lack of substance and writing and a whole bunch of other stuff to make anything compelling. I was just like,
this is turning around and making a pot roast when you've got spaghetti boiling on the stove.
This is, yeah, oof. I hate to say this. I was just like, we just need to get through Emergence, and I'm really hoping that we pivot somewhere for Victory Road and then to Bound for Glory, but I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Like I said, the road between Slammiversary and Bound for Glory, as Papa also can tell you, it tries our patience as TNA fans from time to time. I was just like, I know it's we're getting to the end of the year, y'all, but we got to hold down. We got to keep it together. Hardys, I love you, but this promo was not it. I was just like, okay. Because they're like, Santino's going to announce who our opponent is, and we're happy to face them. And I was just like, okay. Also, they are now also 4th rope tag team champs too, which is kind of crazy. But, you know, I digress. Okay. Let's just get through this because I've been saying this the whole entire episode. Santino comes out and announces a bunch of matches, and then we have kind of a segment in between all this, and then a 5th match. So Santino tells us that we are getting these 4 matches. So prior to this, we already knew from last week that it's going to be Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander for the X Division Championship, and then Trick Williams versus Moose for the TNA World Championship. Then we get these 4 announcements. We get for the TNA International Championship, Steve Macklin versus Jake Something, no disqualifications, no countouts. And I was like, but it didn't warrant. Anyway, we already went through that. We had a TNA Tag Team Championship match. Hardys
this just in at Emergence, we're getting the exact same match we saw tonight.
Just no countouts and no DQs.
And remember, Jake, slam the other guy into the tags.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't. Then for the TNA Tag Team Championships, on the men's side of things, we have the Hardys versus the Rascals, which of course is Zachary Wentz, and filling in for Trey Miguel, Myron Reed. Then we're also getting Mike Santana versus Sami Callihan, and Sami Callihan let it be known on the internet that if Santana beats Sami, then he will be retiring from in-ring competition and like hanging up the boots. And I was just like, I hope not, but we'll see what happens. And then I was alluding to this when we were talking about the brawl. We were getting a fatal 4-way tag team match for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. The Elegance Girls, the Elegance brand, defending the titles against NXT's Fatal Influence, so Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix, Zaya Brookside and Liang Li.
You almost said Zia Lee.
I know. And the Inspiration. And I'm like, TNA, I saw this at Rebellion for the same thing. The Elegance brand defended their titles against Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, and Spitfire. So I was just like, it's rinse and repeat. I was just like, just give it to the Inspiration, damn it. Like, that's what I want. I was just like, but who knows? Shenanigans always happens. However, we weren't done with this segment because the Nemesis come out and they want their rematch for the tag titles. Santino's like, no, you ain't getting it quite yet. In fact, Nick Nemeth, you are suspended, ? Or banned, or we didn't even get a real reason why, but
Let's go film a movie.
Which we know what the real reason is. But then Ryan Nemeth is like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, we bring out the hometown man, and Santino's like, oh, speaking of which. I was like, listen, I'm here for shenanigans, but I was like, is this really a pay-per-view slot? I'm not gonna lie, but looking at the rest of the card, I was like, yeah, I guess we'll take it.
This is a pre-show slot.
This is not even a pre-show slot. As of right now, this is on the main card. Ugh, frustrating. Or who knows, it might end up on the pre-show. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Emergence is next Friday, so this is going to be interesting, to say the least. Let me go back. Main event time! Okay. Love Joe Hendry. Love Mustafa Ali. I dug this match. But again, like I've been saying all episode, does anybody else feel weird about this feud so far? I was like, we had an idea last week, and then it's kind of just spiraling. I was like, what are we doing? I don't know anymore. I love both of these guys, and the in-ring was actually pretty good. But story-wise, what are we doing?
I'm pretty sure Joe Hendry's just kind of spinning his wheels until he gets picked up by a bigger promotion.
I feel bad for both of these guys because I do like them, and I did like the match, but like that's not enough anymore. I was just like, I thought we were going somewhere with Ali wanting to go after the championship and bringing it back to TNA. I was like, again, we did that Raw with our champions and everything, and even though Ali is kind of technically a heel, like we're here to try to get these championships back to TNA where they belong, and then we're kind of. Everybody is doing side quests, but what we originally I thought we were going to set out to do. Like this is like any TTRPG. We have all GM'd a game of any sort. Literally, we are trying. These wrestlers were supposed to get those championship backs as part of the main quest, the main campaign, and everybody has decided to go do the side plots and the side quests.
And meanwhile, we here as fans are just going to like, I swear to God, you guys, you've all tried to seduce the catfish. You can't move on.
Move on.
Sometimes a fucking door is just a fucking door.
Right. Have you tried the doorknob yet? Click.
Knock, knock. Shit. Who's there? The door. I'm so frustrated with this whole thing.
So I just had a really hilarious thought. If all of this, like I said, Joe Hendry just sort of spinning his wheels until his contract runs out with TNA and he gets picked up by another promotion. Obviously, he's done some crossover with NXT. He showed up at the Royal Rumble. He showed up at WrestleMania. Wouldn't it be hilarious if he went to AEW?
That would be amazing. He just shows up.
It's just like, everybody's like, oh, Joe Hendry's contract ran out. Like, oh, where's he going to, like, oh, then everybody's just sort of assumes like, oh yeah, we'll see him in WWE. We'll see him in WWE. And then MJF just gets interrupted by a say his name and he appears.
That would be amazing. The other thing is though, that would be hilarious, but also you can make an argument if Joe's probably going to end up in WWE, but
Yeah.
regardless, I am supporting wherever Joe wants to go because
sure.
as
Well,
myself and
his style is way more WWE than AEW. So I could definitely see him.
And on top of that too, like Andrew, who is our GCW, well, actually, I can't just say GCW. Andrew, our indie god himself, apparently. So because he's covering all the independents and internationals with me, so that's a lot of fun. We all want good things for all of our wrestlers wherever they choose to go, right?
Sure.
At the same time, however, I'm just like, we still have you, TNA. I need you to get it together for both of these guys. I really, really do. And not even, I'm just gonna say this: the whole roster. I'm just gonna put this on the whole roster right now too. We had an idea of where we were going with all of this. You know, I figure, okay, these next 3 pay-per-views, we're going to slowly build to Bound for Glory being where, hey, you know what? We got to get all these championships back. So we got to do everything that we can, all that good stuff. And then we kind of just, again, everybody just decided to do the side quests. Ali ends up winning this match due to Agent Zero is what we're apparently calling him now. And Tasha Steele's kind of being involved with this. So we end TNA this week with Ali celebrating and Joe Hendry just staring at the lights.
Agent Zero is hands down the most 2000s comic book and or WCW name that person could have picked.
It was so bad. It's like we ran it through a generator.
Don't get me wrong. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't completely mean that as an insult. Okay, like, because there is a part of me that does like scratch the, comic book nerd and grew up in the Attitude Era wrestling fan part of my brain in a nostalgic way. But like, there's also a part of me that's like, especially in TNA, where you have a roster full of people who are first name, last name, first name, last name, first name, last name, even like someone Jake something, it's still first name, last name. And then you have Agent Zero. If that guy doesn't break off and get like a secret agent kind of gimmick, there are no writers in TNA.
For reals. But
he needs to come in like, or the rest of Order 4 can come in with their like presidential in Ali we trust kind of thing. But like, we need Agent Zero coming in like dun 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 dun.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, we reached the end of TNA. I mean, I would ask for closing thoughts, but I think I can strongly say for all 3 of us here, this was a rough one to get through.
Yep.
So next Friday is kind of interesting because we will be reviewing the Go Home edition while the pay-per-view is slowly airing as we go live. So again, it's one of those things when TNA decides to put their pay-per-views on Fridays and we're reviewing it. So we're going to try to stay off the internet. We're going to make predictions next Friday for Emergence, and then we have a whole entire week to watch it before the review. I'm not looking forward to Emergence, you guys, but not everything can be crazy, amazing. Well, I mean, it could be.
Well, I mean, that's understandable. It's just the same matches we've seen for the past 3 weeks.
It's literally, it's a pay-per-view, but it's literally just, I was like, just call it what it is. This is a TNA episode, just giving the pay-per-view title. So we will be back next Friday to do the Go Home show. And then
how many episodes does TNA tape at a time?
So normally, depending on locations, usually they do 2 nights, which I believe equates to anywhere between 3 and 4, most likely 4 if they do like 2 days back to back. So usually 1 night is like 2 weeks worth of tapings, like 2 episodes worth.
Right. And they don't have a TV deal right now, right?
No. The last that I reported from earlier this week is that there may or may not be a couple of deals or options in the works, but we probably won't get anything until maybe the end of the year, supposedly, allegedly.
So I don't know. My brain is it's now like switching into like business mode, and it's like, why wouldn't you lean into that? If you're doing pre-taped, if you're pre-taping everything, you can release stuff at whatever schedule you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like the example, like if you compare it to like if you're doing everything online, if you're releasing everything online through your own bespoke streaming service or Triller or whatever, you can make up whatever schedule you want. You can do every other week if you wanted to. You don't have to make it a weekly thing. You can do like great example is Dropout. What Dropout's biggest show is one of its biggest shows is Game Changer. Game Changer doesn't air every week. They do an episode every other week. So like you don't have to do it every week. And especially if you're at a point where doing weekly shows is spreading your talent too thin to the point where you're literally repeating the same match every week. It's the same two guys fighting every week. Like you're putting on a match every week, and you have to just pull stuff out of your ass to make it different. It's like, oh, now they're doing it no DQ, and it's still the same match.
It's
like,
wild. And again, and I bring this up all the time, and we talk about this too, is just like with all these pre-tapes, you get to decide what you want to release and what order you want to. And I think what happens is because it feels like we're lacking some writing department, everything is so disjointed and it's so frustrating from week to week. I was just like, well, this would have been nice last week from a narrative to make sense, but I digress. I still love TNA, but again, there are weeks where I'm just like, y'all, I love y'all, and I'm going to continue to love y'all. But at the same time, it's just like, it's because I love you so much that I'm going to be a little harsh with you when things are doo-doo, when they're not fun. This is not a fun week for TNA, and I'm kind of mad because I actually really enjoyed last week. And then this week, I was just like, damn it, you guys.
You're breaking my heart.
You're breaking my heart. But that's going to be it for us here at Takedown Troupe. Hopefully, next week will be a little bit better. And also, hopefully, we'll have the full 4-person squad. Or who knows? We might just talk shit next week, too. But I'm here for either way because I get to hang out with these lovable nerds every single Friday. Or most Fridays, I should say. And wrestling does not end this weekend because tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific, Adolfo and I will be here for our next MLW watch-along where we will be watching Blood and Thunder, which includes Shotzi Blackheart's MLW debut with her match. We're getting our first 3 rounds of the Opera Cup, which includes one of my matches I'm looking forward to, Michiko versus Ikuru Kwan, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then Sunday, we wrap things up with our WWE review. And then stay tuned, because these next 2 weeks, we don't believe in sleep here, because Andrew is taking me into uncharted territory, as I will be doing 2 reactions / watch-alongs to GCW and Juggalo Championship Wrestling's The 2-Day War. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But then, of course, coming up, we got Emergence review for TNA, GCW Homecoming coming up at the end of the month, Forbidden Door, the G1 Climax in New Japan is about to wrap up here in like a week or 2, which we're covering as well. There's a lot of wrestling, and it's wild out here. But we appreciate you for tuning in for everything. So this is going to be our good night and adieu for the Takedown Troupe this evening. So from all of us here, including the rest of our family at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you tomorrow for our MLW watch-along. But until then, this will be sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.